In today's tutorial, I'll be sharing with you how to do this paddle stitch. It's a really simple textured pattern to make. It only requires a one-step process, which is repeated on every row. This paddle stitch even has a zigzag feel, which is perfect for shawls, for blankets, or even for a bag. First, we'll start off with a slip knot, and we'll work any number of chains. Once we've completed our chains, we'll chain 1 to start the next row, and from the second chain from the hook, we'll work 1 half double crochet. So we'll yarn over, insert our hook, we'll drop a loop, we'll have 3 loops on our hook, we'll yarn over and pull through 3 loops. We'll always start off the first row with 1 half double crochet. Now we'll proceed with the paddle stitch. On that first stitch, we'll yarn over, insert a hook and drop a loop, just like we would a half double crochet. But now, what we'll do is we'll yarn over, we'll skip the next stitch, which is the second stitch or the second chain, and we'll insert a hook through the third chain. Drop a loop, we'll have 5 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through all 5 loops. So that will be a half double crochet 2 together for the first and third stitch. And that's all to it. So we'll yarn over again and we'll do that for the second stitch. So we worked 3 stitches. We'll go back to that second stitch, which is the previous stitch. We'll drop a loop. We'll have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over. We'll skip the next stitch and we'll insert our hook through that following stitch. We'll drop a loop and pull through all 5 loops. And there you go. Now let's do that together one more time. We'll yarn over, insert our hook through that previous stitch, the stitch at the back. We'll yarn over, we'll skip the stitch in front, and we'll insert a hook through the following stitch. Drop a loop and pull through all loops. So I'll do it a little bit quicker for you to see. So basically, as I said earlier, it's just like working a half double crochet 2 together, but instead of the first and second stitch, we'll be working on the first and third stitch. And then we'll go back to the previous skip stitch and the stitch in front. Once we've reached that last stitch, here I have 1 stitch left. So I'll work 1 more paddle stitch by working the back stitch and the front stitch together. And on that last stitch which we just worked on, we'll work 1 half double crochet just to finish off the row. So this will give us a nice and even number. And this is how the front should look like. For this stitch, you'll also have to make sure that your tension is right so that you can see the lines at the back are all evenly distributed. If you like to maintain this symmetrical look throughout the entire project, what you could do is just work 1 single crochet across, you'll turn your work, and then you'll repeat the paddle stitch again. But if you repeat the paddle stitch on the other side, you'll get this zigzag effect. Now on the next row, on that first stitch, you'll work 1 half double crochet just like we did on the first row, and we'll repeat the same steps again. So we'll work a half double crochet 2 together on that first and third stitch. Now we'll go back to that previous skipped stitch and we'll half double crochet that and the stitch in front. Now let's do that again. Half double crochet the back and the front stitch together. Once you've reached your last stitch, you'll work the paddle stitch and 1 half double crochet on that last stitch. And this is how your zigzag paddle stitch should look like, the front and the back. Now I'll be showing you how to do an increase. On that first stitch, instead of working 1 half double crochet, we'll work 2 half double crochets instead. So this will give it an extra stitch at the beginning. And then from here, we'll continue working on the petal stitch as usual, and I'll meet you back here at the end of this row. And once you've reached the end of the row, we'll work one petal stitch as usual. And instead of working one half double crochet on that last stitch, we'll be working 2 half double crochets. So that will give us an increased stitch of 2 stitches, 1 on each side. Now that you know how to do the increase, let's do a decrease instead. So instead of working a 1 half double crochet as we normally would, we will omit the first half double crochet stitch and go straight into the petal stitch. So now I'll be working a half double crochet 2 together on that first and third stitch, and I'll repeat my petal stitch all the way until the end. And on that last stitch, I'll just work a petal stitch, and that's the end of this row. So I'll chain 1 to turn my work. So that will give me a decrease on that first and last stitch, making my row shorter. So here on the first 2 rows, I have a regular petal stitch followed by an increase row and a decrease row. I hope you guys have enjoyed this stitch tutorial, and if you have any other requests, please do drop me a comment below and I'll be happy to work up a tutorial for you.